Osagi Obayiwana.
Distinguished author, representative of the AIG 5, officials, representatives of Governor of BENIN, Yesama of BENIN, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to congratulate a great poet and award-winning poet who, through this book that we have come to launch today, has confirmed that those who gave him an award very early in his life, all the way from the United States of America, found him worthy of that award, even while he was young. They saw in him beyond what most people did. To me, reading this book is a further confirmation. I am glad to make. I always knew him to be polite, warm, and reflective, for which he won my admiration. But as they say, you cannot tell the contents of a book by just looking at the cover. In my interaction with CSP Uba, firstly as colleagues, either as counsel to a suspect who is the object of an investigation, or as counsel to a complainant who feels aggrieved, I have found our author to be reserved, amiable, and professional in the truest sense of the word. This, in our joint pursuit of the truth and what is just and fair. I never knew the poetic side of him, but now I think I should have known. I didn't even know that he had the discipline to write a book, only for me to find out today that in fact, this is not his first. So being called upon to review this book is quite an honor and a great eye-opener. To the caliber of great minds that we have in the Nigeria police, I confess that reading this book is already bringing out the poet in me. You can notice that the way I've been talking that CSP is turning me into a poet. Quite honestly, I hope one day that our author will write another book on his experience as a lawyer in the police force. Well, even before then, perhaps this is what informed the title of this book. Awaken the riches within. It sounds like an order to me. Well, didn't they say that the ethos of the police, and indeed the armed forces as a whole, is obey the last order, which allows for no excuses, no arguments from those at the receiving end. Order is order. Just obey before complain. So the author is ordering everybody, awaken the riches within you. But I think this is one order that most people will readily obey, whether they are in the police or not. More so because of the reason for this order. This is a different order. Awaken the riches within. Pardon the French. Not go and die, Joro, Dara, Joro, as Stella once said. We have been told that we all have hidden riches within us. We are being directed, in fact, ordered to unveil it. But then what is in a subdued tone, in smaller, less forceful print, though still another, is reflected in the cover. The purpose of the book is stated to be creating extraordinary wealth using the powerful imagination of a poet. That is very deep. So I am indeed fascinated by the insight that I got, very original, from our author and in this book, about poetry and writing of poems. The creativity and the power of imagination and ideas, which, by the way, rule the world, and especially the linkages between theory and practice. But David Duba, our author, brings all of this to the fore in a very unique way. Totally fresh to me, that the imagination of a poet is a tool available to us all. It is within our grasp, something we can put to use, and to create not just wealth, but of extraordinary proportions. Poets reflect and they create something out of nothing. He says we can employ that tool of reflection and of imagination to create wealth of extraordinary proportions. It's only our mind, if we allow, that will limit us in terms of the quantum of wealth that we have within us and are capable of bringing to the fore. Contrary to the logic of the exploitative capitalists,
accumulation of wealth, he espouses that there is indeed, in fact, this is indeed a fundamental right to wealth, even of immense proportions. That all peoples, all persons, male and female, are entitled as a matter of right to great wealth. He says the power is in us, and that it is up to us to discover that power and put it to use. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in this book, he proposes how you can do that, and clarifies the methodology of doing that, elaborating on what he calls the poetry of riches, or how to become rich indeed. Our author argues that it is within the reach of and accessible to all persons, and postulates that what is needed is the power of imagination, creativity, tenacity, desire, and purpose. This is what poets possess, that enables them to create, as I said earlier, something literally out of nothing. The author exhorts us all that with focus and persistency, just as poets through ideas paint pictures with words which all can see in their beauty, hear through the ears of our minds, smell and eventually touch with our hands, so it is that the ideas we create in our minds can become riches that we can enjoy in reality. I am enthused by the connectivity he recognizes between one and all when he argues that the context for the realization of these postulations is service to humanity. That, indeed, really gladdens my heart. Through this book, David has shown himself to be an avid reader. How he combines that with his police duties is quite honestly a marvel. A look at the works of perhaps the greatest of writers, poets, and inventors that he consulted in writing this book, whose quotations he lavishly presents in the book to make clearer the points he has put forward. You go through the book, you see names upon names and work upon work that he has consulted. I know him to be a very dutiful officer. How he combines all of this is quite honestly a marvel. It remains for me to add that perhaps the riches and wealth that David Uber enjoins us to bring forth from within us extends to and of necessity includes professional fulfillment, attainment of satisfaction and contentment, alongside freedom from want and unmet needs. Extending to our domestic family life. Permit me to say that I am extremely delighted to be a part of this experience I urge you all to get a copy of this book. And not just get it, above all, read this book, have the discipline to read it from cover to cover, to gain and benefit from the wisdom contained herein. I congratulate the Nigerian Police as an institution through the AIG in charge of Zone 5 for being proud of CSP David Uba as an asset and creating an enabling environment for this experience we all share here today to become a reality. In coming to this place, I have seen upcoming programs scheduled to hold perhaps in this same hall, dealing with complementary ideas. I see topics like coping with stress as a police officer, self-sustainability as a police officer, pre-retirement preparation by being self-sustaining. You can see the interconnections between those ideas and those contained in this book. I hope that provides an additional basis for every officer here, and indeed all of us, to get a copy of this book. I dare say that with the likes of David, I'm tempted to give you a video name today. Aliko. I didn't add Dangote. I dare say that with the likes of David, Aliko, Uba, in the Nigerian Police, and I believe there are very many more like him, and especially with enablers like the present AIG, who is ably represented here. It seems to me that the Nigerian Police is changing for the better, and that Nigeria is on the move. Thank you very much.